Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this press conference following the meeting of the heads of state or government of the European Union and Turkey. Without further ado, I first invite Donald Tusk, President of the European Council, to take the floor.
Thank you, Preben. Good evening. We have now concluded a useful summit between the European Union and Turkey. This summit was about renewing our relationship based on a clear timetable for action. We discussed a range of important areas such as counterterrorism, energy, trade, as well as geostrategic issues of common concern. But obviously migration was the primary reason why we all met today. Let me state clearly that we do not expect anyone to guard our borders for us. That can and should only be done by Europeans. But we expect a major step towards changing the rules of the game when it comes to stemming the migration flow that is coming to the EU via Turkey. Our agreement sets out a clear plan for the timely re-establishment of order at our shared frontier. We will also step up our assistance to Syrian refugees in Turkey through a new refugee facility of €3 billion.
But first the European Union, then Turkey.
Next time first Turkey.
Only because of alphabet, you know?
Yeah. Oui, moi je voulais dire, en complétant les propos du président Tusk, que la réunion d'aujourd'hui fut une réunion, à mes yeux, fructueuse. Nous avons renoué à un niveau élevé nos relations avec la Turquie. Il fut essentiel que nous mettions d'accord sur une réponse commune à formuler à l'égard de la crise des réfugiés que et la Turquie et l'Union européenne doivent résoudre. Il n'y aura pas de réponse à la crise des réfugiés sans réponse commune, articulée, formulée, définie et par la Turquie et par l'Union européenne. Nous voudrions que l'arrivée massive à partir de la Turquie des réfugiés, notamment syriens, vers les territoires de l'Union européenne soit arrêtée. Pour ce faire, nous nous sommes mis d'accord sur un programme d'action conjoint que j'avais déjà l'occasion de développer devant vous après le Conseil européen du 15 octobre. La partie turque, nos partenaires turcs, à l'époque avaient agréé cet accord, ce plan d'action conjoint, Euro zur Verfügung zu stellen. Diese 3 Milliarden Euro werden nicht eine Summe Geld sein, die einfach so an die Türkei überwiesen wird, sondern wir werden den Gebrauch, die Anwendung dieser 3 Milliarden Euro in einem gemeinsamen Verfahren mit der Türkei festlegen. Und deshalb bin ich mit dem, was wir heute verabredet haben, sehr zufrieden. I have to say, because I know that this is a question which will occur in the course of this press conference, that the meeting we had today and the agreements we reached today, thanks to a common effort, both by the Prime Minister and by the European authorities and Member States, will not lead to a situation where we would forget about the remaining divergences and differences we can have with Turkey, human rights, freedom of press. All this will be matters we will come back again and again in order to narrow our positions. But all in all, this was a fruitful meeting, and I'm grateful for the Turkish Prime Minister for having come to Brussels in order to officialize an agreement we had weeks before. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Prime Minister Davutoglu of Turkey.
Thank you very much. First of all, I thank to Donald and Jean-Claude for this opportunity. Nobody can guarantee anything regarding the issue in Syria. I wish to say to you that, yes, the migrants will decline, the number of the migrants, but we cannot say this because we don't know what will be going on in Syria. When these bombardments are continuing against civilians by Syrian regime and its allies, when these terrorist attacks are continuing by Daesh, nobody can guarantee about the future of the victims of this tragedy in Syria. But I can guarantee that Turkey, and I can assure that Turkey will be completing and will be fulfilling all the promises mentioned in joint action plan. When we implement joint action plan, I am sure there will be a much more regular migration rather than illegal immigration. So here our purpose together with EU is, if possible, to prevent new waves of refugees from Syria. This is not only EU or Turkish effort, but there is a need of a joint work of all international community. Secondly, to manage the existing how to manage the existing refugee crisis. And our joint action plan is to regularize all these issues waiting for a solution. And I am sure if we implement our joint action plan, the refugee issues will be dealt in a much more appropriate manner, and there will be less pressure on Turkey and on EU. And this 3 billion euro is, again I am repeating, is to be spent for refugees in Turkey, not to Turkey. And our ultimate target is to prevent human smugglers, to prevent all type of criminal activities against refugees, and to regularize this flow as much as possible, and through this to decrease the number of refugees coming to Europe.